Hello and welcome to BFS Wargaming. So we have Tom on the channel.
Hello.
We're going to talk a little bit about we're going to touch on the balanced data slate, but this is a video mainly talking about Blood Angels and the new Blood Angels detachment, which is called Raging Onslaught or something.
Yeah, yes, something like that. Rage Curse Onslaught, that's
Rage
it.
Cursed Onslaught. There you go. So what we'll talk about the balanced data slate quickly. So obviously Eldar got punched in the gut.
Lovely.
Quite rightly so. I mean, let's face it, they've been an absolute menace for the majority of 10th. And I really didn't like the way you couldn't interact with the with especially with the fire dragons getting in and out of the transports. It was just so oppressive to play.
Yeah, it's a massive feel bad and like the reactive move and stuff like that. I mean, everyone's read the data slate now, but how many games have you had? And it's like you're getting so much use out of them fire dragons because they're getting in the transport, in out. They're getting multiple activations throughout the game and killing half your army, if not the whole army. So.
And let's face it, they are probably one of the biggest damage dealers in the game. Like their damage output is unbelievable. So yeah, I mean, did they go a bit overboard? Could they have just changed the rules and not put up the points?
To be fair, I think a double nerf's never good for a faction. But there's some quality elder players out there, and
I actually think what they should have done is brought some of the other data sheets down in points, like some of the ones that maybe aren't played so much. The sort of walkers, the Wraith Knight walker thing.
Yeah, the Wraith Lords and all that. They're not bad, I say, but they're a little bit expensive. And
so they could have sort of nerfed this and then brought something out. So I mean, obviously they got that new Harlequins detachment, which looks spicy. That new Harlequins detachment looks very good. So probably that's where they'll end up going, is they'll move in the Harlequin direction. So yeah, that was that. Admech took some points increases. I think that was justified. I actually think it was pretty tame. I'm not saying it wasn't enough, but they could have gone harder on Admech. But I'm glad they didn't, just because Admech have been pretty crap for most of 10th.
Yeah, I felt sorry for Admech players for quite a while, to be honest. And it's an expensive army to collect as well. It's probably the most expensive.
Yeah.
And to invest all that money and time into paint and all that, and then have it be pretty much shit for about 3 years. Good 2 years is. So I'm glad they're good, but yeah, they did need reining in because
I mean,
too many points.
No one wants anything that's just like you rock up to the table and you're like, yeah, there's just too much stuff here for me to even win the game. Do you know what I mean? Unless I've got a very specific army. What you want to feel like is when you get on the tabletop is that you've actually got a chance to win the game out of your skill, not just. I mean, they're always going to have your bad matchups, but you don't want it to be so bad that you just can't compete.
No.
We'll talk a bit about that in a minute about Blood Angels. And then after that, we had Black Templars took a nerf, which I don't think they really needed.
No, I don't think they needed either. To be honest, their win rate wasn't exactly,
No, I just think it was I think they were strong, and then they've got a little bit weaker as time's gone on. Really, maybe due to other factions becoming stronger. So yeah, I wasn't sure that really needed a massive touch. And then the Lords of Change randomly got changed from D3 damage to damage 3.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I played demons for like 12 years. I don't know more, but I can tell you now that is really strong, because the fact that the main thing that kept that down was D3 damage, and I played it against it, and it's brutal, but the D3 damage was keeping it in check. And now it's flat 3 damage. Like 4 of them chickens are just gonna pick up so much stuff.
And you can like fire basically out of line of sight, but at your same ballistic skill, because you can fire through people. And
right? Something like that. I'll be honest, I don't know too much about it, so I don't want to comment. Yeah. But from what I say is, I think they can get line of sight through like a screamer unit or something like that. Yeah. And that's in the Zeech detachment. But yeah, it's really good. It's really good.
And also now being able to bring them in with Thousand Suns, that also makes them good for that, to ally them in. So yeah, I think there's a lot of play there with with them boys. So it will be interesting to see what concoctions people come up with these demons. I mean, look, to be fair, Laws of Change have probably been the weaker unit out of the 4 greater demons. For
Yeah, yeah,
for the majority of 10th, like the Keeper of Secrets was really strong for a while, then went down. Now's got down in points. Now probably all right. But they just die so easy since they lost that 5-up. Feel no pain. It's killer.
yeah. I know. It's a shame, but
yeah, it is a shame. So yeah, moving on. That was sort of really when you talk about buffs. That was sort of about all the buffs.
yeah, Thousand Sun's got a bit of a drop, and I think they're in a pretty good position actually as well.
Yeah.
So I think we'll be, and there's some quality Thousand Sun players out there as well. So I'd imagine they'll do quite well.
Yeah, there was a few small points movements here and there, but generally it was quite tame for a balanced data slate, I think.
Yeah, definitely, mate. I felt that it was like, I'm glad it was tame because I felt the meta was quite balanced, apart from Eldar being a menace and Admech and Ultramarines, which we'll touch on. But
yeah, I to be honest, for me, I feel like it was a prime opportunity to do some internal balance changes with stuff like detachments, maybe drop in some units that are just never used, like I'm trying to think out of something in Necrons. I mean, Necrons have got a pretty good internal balance in terms of data sheets, but I don't know. Let's say the obelisk just that needs new rules, really. But do you know what I mean? Like, there's loads of other armies that you could have dropped stuff on, but also detachment balance, like changing some rules in detachments. Like for instance, Blood Angels is a good example, or was a good example before this new detachment came out. There was just an outright winner. I mean, people did talk about Angelic Inheritors, but it just wasn't as good as Liberated Assault. So you had one, and the same as World Eaters with Berserker Warband. It's just by far the best detachment. So either tame this a bit, tame this a bit, and then bring the others up, or bring the others up to what this is, if it's not overpowered. I just think you could do some small rules changes to the detachment rules just to make things slightly better, and then suddenly. Because a lot of these detachments, maybe not so much with Blood Angels, because Blood Angels got a small data sheet group. But like for instance, Necrons, if you make Annihilation Legion or OBS and Phalanx like slightly better, it doesn't even have to be massive. You suddenly got using all these different models and different units and that sort of thing. It actually becomes like you want to be able to see armies played in different ways, even if it's not. They don't all have to be exactly the same competitiveness. But if I can bring a list that's completely different and still go to a tournament and be competitive with it, like to what someone else is playing but the same army, that's how it should be. Do you know what I mean? You should have options of ways to play. And to be fair, the way they do detachments is some armies and some, like for instance, Necrons have got Star Shatter, Awakened, Hypercrypt. They're all pretty good. Hypercrypt's the worst one out of the three, but there has been, and they've got Knaptek Court. There's been multiple ways to play Necrons, which is probably one of the best codexes in 10th in terms of longevity of 10th and different ways to play your army. I think they're actually done really well with Necrons in this edition, but you just want to see it a bit more in the other armies as well.
Yeah, I'd like to see some of the Necron units because I love Necrons, even though I don't play them. I think they're so cool, and I'd like to see some of the Necron data sheets that don't see play get a little bit of a points adjustment, because there's you got some shit in that book as well.
Yeah.
You got some stuff that needs buffing or changing.
I mean, it's even stuff like the Triarch Praetorians, right? This is just an example of what they could have done. Triarch Praetorians, they could have just said, I mean, these are like the elite of the elite, the Triarch. Do you know what I mean? This is like royalty type guys. Why aren't they hitting on twos?
No, exactly. They got two attacks in, they said, like
3 attacks. But like the Lich Guard are 2 attacks, but the Triarch Praetorians are 3 attacks. But just get him hit on twos. Same as the Lich Guard. They're like the bodyguards. The Lich Guard are like the bodyguards. Get them to hit on twos. Like it just then makes them that much better. I mean, the Lich Guard should have 3 attacks on them scythes anyway. But this is prime example. Make them 3 attacks on that scythe. Suddenly you go, oh, I might use them taking the scythes rather than the sword and the shield all the time. Do you know what I mean? And it's just little things like that, internal balance with the balanced stat slate. To be honest, I felt like it was a bit lazy, the balanced stat slate, in terms of they've done the right things, and overall as a game, great, but they could have done internal balance changes, and maybe they're just thinking 11th in 6 months, who gives a shit?
Totally. I just don't think they want. my opinion is I don't think they want the disaster, because start attempt was a disaster. I didn't even bother playing it because it was so crap.
Yeah.
I played like one game and it's like, right, I'll come back in a year. And I don't think they want the same situation happening again. So I feel like they're going to really focus on that. And the game is really, regardless of you look at it, the game is really balanced at the moment. And if you look at the weekly win rates, there's armies that still need help and there's armies that are still a little bit too good. But if you played this game as long as me and as long as you have, this is definitely the best place this game's ever been in.
Yeah, it's in terms of balance. Yeah, I agree.
In terms of the balance, yeah. So they didn't want to upset the apple cart too much. But I will say, Victrix Guard at 240 is obscene. Was obscene. They should be 260 to 280 with their rules.
To be honest, mate, they should have just had a rule change.
Yeah, what people don't understand with the Victrix is everyone's crying on about them. They can hit this harder, this durable. It's the out of phase movements they've got. They can stack so many out of phase movements. They've got blood surge, they've got reactive move, they've got everything. And when you're like the same problem we had with Eldar, when you're got out of phase movements, it's so busted.
Yeah. And
people can't interact with them.
And then Gladius fight on death.
Oh yeah, guaranteed fight on death 2 CP, and they've got CP everywhere because they're Ultramarines, so they've got CP for days.
Yeah.
So I don't know whose decision that was, but
double O, they want it.
The old money, and it's the old Bunsen burner. They want to,
of course.
The models are lovely. Don't get me wrong, I love them. I think they look amazing.
To be honest, that is the only, as far as I can see at the moment, the only real problem is Victrix Guard in terms of if you do something with them, the actual balance of the game is pretty good.
Yeah, I agree. And Guard will touch on that, but
yeah. So let's go to the new detachments.
Yeah, all right, mate.
We've talked about Harlequins briefly. They look very strong. It's going to be very, I think, powerful with the bikes, the haywire, the fire and fade in, and all that sort of thing. I think they are going to be good. I'm not sure if it's going to be like OP good. That's just a matter of waiting and seeing who plays it and how they do with it and what they do with it, really.
As long as it don't take us back to the days of our whole Harlequins. Do you remember that? Was it late night with all the boats and oh god, what was that detachment called? Light and Dark, Sega, whatever.
Yeah.
That was we don't want to see that again.
That was when we were at that teams tournament, and I threw Lewis Elms. I threw Lewis Elms under the bus, and he played Harlequins with his knights, and he got tabled like turn 1.
yeah. That was outrageous, poor fella.
Poor Lewis. Yeah, that was gross. But yeah, so I don't think they're going to be that strong, obviously. But yeah, it'll be good to see what comes out in the wash there, with as far as they are concerned.
So we'll go the Emperor's Children one. Have a quick brief talk of that.
Yeah, let's go. Emperor's Children.
Yeah. So Emperor's Children one does make Fulgrim good, believe it or not.
Okay.
So I really like it. I think it's really good. So you've got, obviously, you can reduce. There's 2 stratagems in there that reduce in cost for Fulgrim. One is move through walls, basically, which I feel that he should do that as a rule anyway. I've always thought that because he's on a dinner plate,
Yeah.
He's on a steak plate, isn't he? And he moves 16, and so obviously that's game changing. And also he's got reroll hits and wounds in there, which actually makes him really reasonable. He's still shit, as in like his profile isn't what a Primarch should be. Like hit wise, I think he's only got like 6 attacks or something with the big sword, like D6 plus 1 damage. It's not what you expect a demon Primarch. Yeah, but it's still not that great. I think it's like 14 attacks or something like that, 16 attacks, but it's not that great.
Damage what, 1?
I think it's damage 2, but
it sounds pretty strong to me. It's like the Lion.
No, it's nowhere near as good as the Lion.
All right.
No, it's nowhere near as good as the Lion's one. But yeah, it's good. And then you've got in this attachment you've got Noise Marines +1 strength and +1 AP, or Noise Marines.
Yeah, that's really strong.
Do the math on that. That's quite naughty.
AP 3, strength 11 on the Blastmasters, strength 6 on the
Sonic Blasters, Sonic Weapons or something?
Yeah, Sonic Weapons. Yeah, so yeah, I mean that hits a few nice. I mean, you go up to strength 12, or no, strength 11. So then you'd be wounding knights on 4s.
And
stuff like
because
that.
they used to struggle. Traditionally, would struggle with high toughness. So good players would always get around it, but they'd really cap out at strength 10. But now, obviously, having that strat, and they ignore cover. If I'm right, they ignore cover as well, don't they?
Yes, they do. Yeah.
So that's just like obscene. AP3, I
AP3
think
nor covers gross, yeah.
it's just, yeah, like that's goodbye to a whole squad of Angry Guard. Goodbye.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like that one. That's good. And then what else was there? The Night Lords, I actually liked that as well. That was all to do with battle shocks and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah, I think Battle Shocks had what's the word? A tough rap in 10th edition. I actually think Battle Shocks worked really well.
So do you know what? I'm going to say that as well. I actually really, when it works and it's done well, it does work well.
Yeah.
So like the Nurgle detachment with it all, with the battle shock stuff, that's cool. That's cool, and actually really works.
Yeah, I think like with Battle Shock, I've heard people say it's either win, like you either win or you lose and that sort of thing. And I think no, I said
Yeah.
I think it's good because you can try and force battle shocks, which obviously then affects people scoring points and that sort of thing. But also you can like you don't run. You know, it's not like when it used to be morale where you just run off the board. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And or you just die because of battle shock. Do you know? So I think the
No, I
fact
agree.
that it just makes you not as useful as a unit, I think is really good. I actually think the one last thing which I said to you, I actually said this to you already. I think that if a unit is battle shocked and they have the fight first ability, they should lose that ability.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout because I just
You shouldn't be fighting first if you're battle shocked, in my opinion.
no. I think there should always should be like a minus to hit roll or something like that, or something. You know, like their battle shocks are their -1 to the hit rolls or something.
Yeah,
I think that's quite a good something like that. Just
yeah.
just show their battle shocks.
Yeah, something that affects them a little bit more than just you can't score. You know. Yeah. So that
And then the
was
guard.
we're going on
Then
for the
the
guard.
guard.
The
So
Grizzled
you've played it.
the Grizzled Company. I played Mr. Coppin.
Yeah.
Couple of days ago now, and yeah, it's good. It's basically rerolling ones, rerolling ones to hit all of the time because they're ordered, and then he's rerolling ones to wound because most of the time I was on an objective when he was wanting to shoot me.
Right. Yeah, makes sense.
So you get the reroll ones to wound, and mate, them reroll ones, just reroll ones, makes them Rogal Dawns so much more efficient.
Yeah,
It's crazy. It's crazy. Like you don't even think about it. Like, I didn't think about it. It's like hitting on threes because they're ordered +1 to hit. Well, +1 ballistic skill, and then re-rolling ones. So it's only twos that are missing, and then they're wounded most of the time on sort of threes and twos. Re-rolling ones, twos a lot of the time, and it's re-rolling ones, and you're like, Christ, there's a lot of re-rolls here, you know.
It's a lot of things as well. It's a lot of shots as well.
Yeah.
It's like they've got guns coming off of everywhere. I'm like, the Overwatch from them. I can remember getting Overwatch by one of them a little while ago, and I was like, this is going on for days. How many guns has this thing got?
Yeah. It's like a repulsor executioner. It's just, but repulsor executioner's only got one actual decent gun. Like the Rogal Dawns have got like 3 or 4 actual decent guns. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
Lot of doing multiple damage. You know, like you're just like, oh shit, this. They can. So yeah, that was really good. The list I played, Tom had some Atlan Rough Riders, which are now better because they're like you can get them hitting on twos, re-rolling ones. Then you're getting like wounding with Lance, so +1 to wound because of their Lance thing. Re-rolling ones, so they're usually wounding on like 4s or 3s or 2s. Re-rolling ones makes them really nice.
They're strength 9 or something already, AP4.
Yep.
But I think they're like one attack, but the fact they're re-rolling win rolls of 1, so going to the right target, they're just clean up a load of stuff, and they're so cheap as well.
D6 damage, like it's very nice. So and then he's got like he had a unit of Bulgrin, which again with the commissar in that detachment can give them orders now. So now they're re-rolling ones. They can be hitting on 2s, re-rolling ones to wound if you're on an objective because they're ordered.
Right.
The commissar can go with them, or you can have him like near them because they can do it within like 6 or 12, whatever, giving them orders. And then so he can give them or you can, and that's the other thing. That order for plus in OC, mate, is
Obscene.
It's so good. Like to be able to just be going,
Yeah.
like just giving out what you need because they're doubling all of the orders. So it's just orders. Everything's ordered, you know. And then it's like
Yeah.
whatever you want, and then you've got a strat to play an order at the start of any phase. So for instance, let's say I'm about to score primary.
Yeah.
I'm about to score 5 points on one of the primary, and he's got a guy on
Yeah.
there or a unit on there, and I'm out OCing him. He can play a CP and go right there OC whatever now, and
Yeah.
then suddenly I'm being out OC primary denial, bang, straight away. You know, it's
That's
things
really
like
good.
that. It's really strong. Or like at one point he put plus OC on 2 of these units right at the end of the game, and I was like, "How much OC have you got in there?" He was like 27. I was like 27
What?
OC. He had a unit Bullgrin and the command squad in there, 27 OC. I was like,
Oh my days.
like you know, I've either got to kill everything on there to be able to get, or just leave it. And so yeah, and then, you know, move, and everything plus 3 inches to move is so strong.
Yeah, mate.
But it's the fact that now there's never a unit that's not ordered because they've got so many orders. You know, the Kassakin are ordering themselves. You can order yourself
Yeah.
twice because of because Kassakin could be ordered twice for some reason. Do you know what I mean? There's just orders everywhere, and
That sounds awful.
yeah, it was
That sounds awful experience. That would.
awful. But to be fair, I did win it.
Well done. Well
Yeah,
done.
I won it by 7 points, but um, I I went second, and I was playing Hypercrypt, so you know we love going second. You can just pick up
Yeah,
and
you
go,
do.
oh, I got that.
Nice. Well done,
Six
mate.
inch drop. Yeah, it was a good game though. It was really close, very interesting, and really good to play the new Grizzle Company. And yeah, it is just guard. It's guard with
Yeah.
a basically a better toolbox and more rerolls. To be honest,
Awesome.
that's what it
It's nice to
is.
see Melly units be good in guard as well. You know, it's
Yeah,
nice. I like to see like make it. You know, as guard players, them horses, they're really cool models. And you know, like if I'd painted 10 of them and spent ages doing it, you know, it's nice to be able to go. Do you know what?
yeah.
Actually, I can put them on the table, and they're actually pretty good now.
Yeah, I'd say the worst thing about them horses is they're mounted, so
Right.
and they don't fly, so you can screen them pretty easy. Do you know what I mean? Like people are,
Yeah.
I think you're probably going to be rapidly ingressing them, but for me, I was never letting him get them anywhere near my monolith. Do you know what I mean?
No, of
So
course you're not. No.
he came in and killed like 5 Praetorians and a Tomb Blade, and then my monolith went and then killed it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that was basically what happened with them. But yeah, it was really really good. I think Tom maybe should have pushed a little bit harder, maybe a turn earlier. I think he could have won the game, but that was his second game with them. Do you know what I mean? So
Yes, like me. After 10 games, like I say, it's quite a complex attachment, especially guard. You know, there's a lot to remember, a lot of orders and stuff. And I feel once guard players get, you know, 5, 10 games with it and they get it all, you know, get it locked down, then
yeah,
I think we'll start seeing some really strong wins with them.
and I think that he wasn't using his stratagems as well as he could do either. And I think that was like this is why
Yeah.
we were practicing. He was saying that I need to, you know, and he finished the game with like 5 CP. And I was like,
Oh, bloody hell.
you should have been throwing out them stratagems a little bit because
Yeah,
there's so many good stratagems in there. So yeah, I think that I think it'll be very hard to beat for me once Tom's got that down.
yeah.
He's at a tournament this weekend actually.
Yeah, good luck, mate. Yeah, he's going there. He's going to Norwich, Norwich one. Yeah, I couldn't go to that, but Ollie's going as well. So.
Yeah. So moving on, what are we on to next?
Yeah. Do Blood Angels now, innit?
Let's do the Blood Angels, the big ones.
Yeah. The big buddies.
So when this first came out, Tom messaged me. He was very excited.
Yeah, boy.
Like this he was. Have you seen the new detachment? And I was like, I read it and I thought, well, is it better than the Liberator Assault Group? Like it seems to me like it's a bit of a side grade. Like I think it's going to be better into especially like, you know, the Victrix Guard and that sort of thing. It's better into infantry based armies. But I think if you're talking about your night matchups, you know, your big monsters, stuff like that, I still think that the Liberator is going to be better.
Yeah, Liberator Cat. Yeah, I mean, I'll give you my take on it. So, obviously, I've played like 100 games with Liberator, so I can't sit here and say, is it better than Liberator or not? Now, Angelic Inheritors, everyone, it is good. But for me, if it hasn't got advanced and charge and it's a combat detachment, I don't want to know. And the main reason for that is because when you are, so if I'm playing you and I've got Angelic Inheritors and I can say to you, my army can move, I can move 12 inches and I haven't got advanced and charge.
Yeah.
You'll suddenly know my threat ranges and you can measure up a lot easier. But when your opponent's got access to advance and charge, it suddenly opens up the game a lot more, and you've got to be so much more considerate to where your opponent can go. And also, you know, the board's not that big, so suddenly when you start adding on 12 plus advance and charge and that, you can get a lot of places that you can't get without it.
Yeah.
But that's my take on them three. So I still think Liberator, for me, at the moment, is still best, and I'll tell you why. So Angelic Inheritors is, what's it called, the new one now? God, brain's gone dead.
Onslaught.
Rage Cursed Onslaught, right. Yeah. So I feel it's really good in the current meta, but there's a few downsides to it. So, for example, the detachment hasn't got a fallback and charge, which is massive. Now, so you've got to really be careful with your key units, because you can be locked up easy. And this is a detachment that's really susceptible. If it isn't charging and it's being charged, it's absolutely terrible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because you're getting no army buffs. You've got whereas in Liberator Assault Group, it's more of a toolbox. You've got access to +1 attack, +1 strength when you're charged. So that's really good. So you're like, actually, if someone charges me, I'm still quite good. But all of a sudden, I've got no fallback and charge, and I've got no defensive, strat to increase my attack. So you've got to be really careful and time your attacks really well. Does that make sense?
Yeah, so basically it means you've got to be a bit more precise with the Rage Curse Onslaught than you have with Liberator.
Yeah, but on the plus side, you can skew the numbers crazy. So obviously the army rule is reroll wound rolls of 1 all the time, which is nice, which is really nice all the time, and +1 attack. But for me, what sends it to the stratosphere is the +2 attack, because when you start doing some of the math on some of these units with +2 attack, rerolling wound rolls of 1, sustained hits, it sends the damage through the roof.
Yeah.
So you can have, like, for example, like a Blade Guard unit with a lieutenant and an ancient, and then the ancient 7 attacks it. So the Blade Guard is 7 attacks each, the lieutenant's 8 attacks. I think it's like 60 odd attacks on the squad with lethal hits, AP 3. I mean, that kills anything in the game.
Yeah.
But then they're battle shocked, so you've got that problem as well to take into account.
Yeah. That's the thing, isn't it? It's like, and also, who wants to take Blade Guard when you play Blood Angels, because they're super slow?
There is that. Yeah, there is that as well. I mean, but I really like how
you might as well have loads of shit that flies 12 inches and like flies over stuff. Yeah, advance and charge. You know what I mean? Like, you've just got so much movement with Blood Angels. That's why Blood Angels, for me, like, you've been playing Liberator Assault and you've been doing really, really well with it.
mate.
I've seen you 20-0 multiple lists. You're scoring hundreds a lot of these games, because people just can't do anything about the movement and the damage output, really.
No,
unless you've got specific rules to combat it, like fight on death, things like that. You don't really stand a chance.
No, and it's obviously, it is a movement-based army, so you got to be good with your movement. You can't just the amount of people that go to me, you can just send it. I'm like, you really can't just send it. You really can't just send an army. It doesn't work like that. You've got to stage up.
And also, when you're going into and you're playing someone on your level or above your level or whatever, like, it's, there's always ways to play around. Like, if I play you, I know your move distances. I know where I'm going to be setting up. I know that I've got to screen certain things and do. Don't get me wrong. I still feel like, especially with my army, because I'm playing Necrons and you're playing Blood Angels, at the moment, Blood Angels are up here and Necrons are down here. But I'm still going to be able to give you somewhat of a game, just because I know the army and I know the move distances, the things I've got to do to try and combat that. I know I've got to put stuff that, and also I know your profiles and what could miss and what could hit, like, and things like that. So it's baiting things out and that sort of thing. But it's still a stupidly hard game for me.
Totally. And the thing is as well, it's like let's go over some madness that's in this detachment. So, for example, we got Fight on Death with Death Company 2 CP. So
super strong.
Which is seriously strong. So, because the main thing is with Fight on Death with Death Company, so you Fight on Death with World Eaters, Corn Berserkers is terrible, because they're strength 4 AP 1 if they're charged. They're slight shit, and they're on a 4-up. With this, it's a guaranteed Fight on Death. Death Company always reroll hits anyway. If they've got a chaplain with them, they're +1 to wound all the time. Obviously, they're not. If you charge them and they die, then they haven't got the extra attacks, but it's still so many quality attacks. It would likely bring down something substantial with it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get your piling right and you consolidate and you get into something good, or fight on death and something good charges you're bringing down something good. You could bring, for example, a 10-man could bring down a Victrix Guard unit.
Yeah, or for instance, if I was to charge 6 Scorpex into you, there's a good chance that my 6 Scorpex probably kill your guys. Well, actually, no, because you wouldn't have the -1 damage. If you had -1 damage, probably not. But if you didn't have -1 damage, then I'm probably killing them, but you're definitely killing me in return.
100%. That's the thing. And if you can, also as well, so if you can pull a fight on death off after you're buffed as well, it's like, for example, this is so the lion, for example. So he's got fight first, and he's a pig, right? So what you could do is, if he's on his own, there's no way of getting to him with fight first. So say he's just run around on his own because you can't pile into something else. So you can't charge something else and pile into him. Does that make sense? Yeah. He's on his own. So what you could just do is go, right, well, I'm just going to send this 10-man Death Company unit into him. I'm going to just stick the buff on them. Obviously, they'll get the buff from the charge. The lion will fight first and kill nearly all of them. And then you just go 2 CP fight on death and bring the lion down with you. Now, that's a worthwhile trade, 10 Death Company for the lion all day.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So it's just answers around that as well. And also, yeah, it's got a 5-up feel no pain strat, which is just madness.
Really? It's just a flat 5-up feel no pain strat?
For the whole phase.
Wow.
On Death Company unit, but obviously stacked with Amarty's.
Okay, so it's just going from 6 to a 5, yeah, but still nice.
Yeah, I mean the math on that is, I think it's a massive increase. Like obviously stacked with Amarty's as well, -1 damage. So if you go, for example, yeah. And then Armor of Contempt as well. So say you go, right, Armor of Contempt on something, say you really need him to live. And just remember, with your Death Company, 5 of the guys in the Death Company squad you couldn't give a shit about anyway, because they're just chainswords. You just want the Power Fists and the Eviscerators to live. So yeah, it's really strong. 5-up feel no pain for the whole phase is gnarly.
Yeah, that is very, very good. Yeah, so basically you're going to get infinite attacks. I mean, I think the only big thing isn't it, is you'll need certain characters like chaplains and stuff in there, because I do think you might struggle against some of the tougher units in the game.
100%, but obviously I've got a way around that for myself. So, for example, lethal hits, leaning into units that can provide lethal hits.
Yeah.
Because it's so many dice, lethal hits. So, for example, like Vanguard veterans. I've been running Vanguard vets with Dante for about a year, and honestly, they've been my best unit in APAT. They've been unreal. And in this attachment, they're even better. So you battle shock them. They're hitting on 2s, obviously with Dante. You can oath the target and fish the 6s. They're 60 attacks. 60 attacks when they're battle shock. AP2. So on the math on that, so statistically, if you fish the lethals, that's 18 to 19 lethal hits alone, and then you've still got the wound roll. You've still got Dante, which is going to be AP4 with 10 attacks. That is one mad unit.
Yeah.
That'll bring down anything in the game.
Yeah.
But you also need to lean into the spears as well. I feel this. You pointed this out yourself, didn't you, about the spears?
Yeah, because of the +1 to wound on the spears rather than the swords, because you can get the extra AP. So you can go, because spears are only AP2, is it? So they go.
Yeah, spears are AP2. Yeah.
So you can get them to AP3. So I think that's really strong. I mean, I'm not saying that you shouldn't have a unit of 6 swords and have them as AP3 and go to AP4, but I just feel like with the spears, you've got a few units of 3 spears, then you can throw them out there. They've got all of the attacks in the world. You're getting, that extra AP, because I think the things that let the spears down was just the AP. Obviously, they've got the lance, the AP. There should be some thing there, which is the trade-off, but yeah, I think they're a lot better in this detachment.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm the same as you. I want to take some swords with some AP4 just to upset some people and go, sorry, no armor safe for you, good sir.
Yeah,
and they're just dead, and it's great again into Victrix Guard because they've got 2 up with no invuln. So you get 3 of them bad boys in with Dante, or 6 with Dante, and then they fail a battle shot. Now, any Blood Angel players watching this, my personal opinion is I haven't left home without Dante ever, and I don't think any Blood Angel players should. And you've been witness to this. That battle shock alone at -1, 6-inch aura will win you games.
Yeah,
hands down.
Because it can stop. First off, it can stop interrupt. which interrupt is huge. If you've got a few melees going on in the same place, or if you've got Dante in with one unit, and then you've got across the other side of the board, you've got whoever in with another unit, some Death Company or whatever. Well, if Dante battle shocks this guy, you can fight there first. They can't interrupt, so it doesn't matter about like fight first. On top of that, they can't use any defensive stratagem, so that means that Victrix guy won't be able to use AOC.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
So then the -4 is taken to a 6-up save rather than taking them to a 5-up, which obviously we know 5-ups is way better than a 6-up. So there is a lot of nice things that battle shock cause that happens, and there's, say for instance, Gladius fight on death.
Fight on death. I can't tell you how many times I've had that stop fight on death. Literally, I've played that so many times. I'm like, you got to take because it's at -1. The statistics of it actually failing are quite. It's a 50-50 really, because it's basically you've got to roll a 7, is it? Well, it's leadership 6, so you -1, so you got to roll under a 7. And not having fight on death is just like
7 or above.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, sorry, yeah. So it's a pass. Yeah. All of a sudden, it's like no fight on death for 2 CP. That is catastrophic.
Yeah, I don't. You know, my Psychomancer makes people.
Same ability, isn't it?
Yeah, same ability. Done it to Tom. He's leadership going to an 8 because it's -1. Saved every single one, mate. He was just roll bang. I was like, Tom, just fail some. Let me score some points. But no, it's so strong, and you know, not being able to use stratagems is massive. And like for instance, in a guard matchup, for instance, once you battle shock something, you turn off their orders. So for instance, let's say they have buffed their OC or whatever, you battle shock them, suddenly they're like 0 OC, they're not getting their take cover, so they're not getting their plus to save, it's stuff like that. So as soon as you battle shock them, bang, they lose that order, so they're not getting pluses to save, even easier for you to kill them.
Yeah, totally. Another thing I want to point about this detachment, which I'm really in love with at the moment, is the Scout 6. So Scout 6 on a chaplain. So there's a lot of good things. You can actually make Terminators good in this detachment. So you could put Scout on a Terminator chaplain with 10 Terminators and 10 Assault Terminators. And because the Assault Terminators are quite good now because they hit on 3s.
Yep.
That's quite a nasty little combo because it suddenly delivers them to the midboard like a turn earlier. And you've got advanced and charge in there as well. So you could do that. I mean, I personally wouldn't do that because I like things with jump packs, but it's a strong combo and it's nice to see, you could actually play Terminators.
Yeah.
But for me, obviously on the Death Company, so it's like a 10-man Death Company can theoretically be 30 odd inches turn 1, and it'll cost you 1 CP to do it. You Scout 6, you move 12, you advance and charge. Say you roll a 4 or 5, you re-roll your charges, and then to top it off, so you get into something, and if it's a combat army, then all of a sudden the combat army's got a charger. You burn a card turn 1. And go, right, I'm on 2 CP, my opponent's turn 1, I'll fight on death there. So literally that unit has ended up devastating 500 points of your opponent's army.
Yeah.
How would you screen a 30-inch moving Death Company? It's
what I'm saying. This is because of the fly keyword. Like Blood Angels are like horrific to play against. This is what, like, when I play against, like, for instance, Drukhari, right? Drukhari have got insane movement. Yeah, but the one thing they haven't got is, well, apart from on their Reavers and their Hellions, but the actual witches haven't got fly, so I can screen them.
Yeah, totally.
But like, it's so hard to screen a flying infantry army, because if you look at other things, maybe they can't go through walls or whatever else, so they have to move around, and whereas flying infantry, I mean, I've said this since the beginning of the 10th. When they changed the board size, jump pack should have gone down to 10 inches.
Yeah, you've been saying that for a while now. Yeah.
I think 12-inch move on an infantry unit. And the trouble is, if these infantry, the damage output of these infantry units is insane. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've just said, basically, your Death Company, your Sangard, they're basically killing most things in the game.
Yeah, like Astraf's unit, for example, is Dev Wounds. You imagine that with +2 attacks. Yeah. That's like 60 attacks with Dev Wounds. Let's just kill anything in the game.
Exactly. So, you've got a unit you can't screen that's moving, pretty much especially after turn 2, moving wherever they want wherever you want, because you just go up and stage them. And the trouble is, as your opponent, you've got to be far away. Otherwise, you're just going to get charged. Or you have to have insane movement to get back, so to push you back. And this is why I think things like Leagues of Votann. So specifically Leagues of Votann, maybe Necrons to a degree, because Necrons, if they go up against these high damage melee units like World Eaters, Blood Angels, Drukhari, fast moving, high damage. Well, Wraiths just die. Units of warriors just die. So them types of Necron armies, just there's no point. Votann have to be so far back because they're just going to get charged. You're going to kill their Hecaton land fortresses. Then you sort of try and move out, and you shoot some stuff, and you try and move out. But by the time you actually get out and you've killed enough stuff as a Votann player, it's turn 4 or 5. You can't score enough points to get back in the game.
Yeah, that's why I've been, for me, so obviously, for my last, I can't tell you how many games I've scored 100, especially at tournaments lately, but we're not talking 100 to 50, 100 to 70, we're talking 100 to 20, 100 to 30.
Yeah.
Because I'm jailing my opponent so hard, he just can't get out.
Yeah, exactly.
He just literally, and it's like, he can't, what can he do? What are you supposed to do when you got 20 jump packs breathing down you? There'll be another 30 jump packs breathing down you. So I agree with what you're saying there.
And this is the thing. It's like, what do you move up? Like, it doesn't really matter what army I'm taking. Like, the only even guard with Rogel Dawns and stuff. Like, especially so for instance, we'll talk specifically on UKTC because that's what we play
I was going to mention that. Yeah.
Like GW, I think GW trains a bit of a different, and maybe WTC is a different story. But on UKTC terrain, with these big line of sight blocking pieces of terrain, which you can't move through if you're not infantry, it makes it extremely hard for things like Rogel Dawns, Doomsday Arcs, all these other tanks and that sort of thing to move through to be able to get and have enough movement to be able to get shooting onto the Blood Angels. Whereas the Blood Angels can sit there, and as soon as you stage to then move the next turn, you're already in range. Once you're staging to move to then get to shoot, you're already in range. Boom, a unit of 10 Death Company come out, a unit of 6 Sangry Guard, kills your Rogel Dawn, kills whatever it is that it wanted to kill, and then you're like, okay, that's dead. Like, that's my big hammer unit that was, and then you're starting to run out of resources to kill your stuff, and then boom, 5 JPRs, boom, this, that, the other, 10 vets with Dante, and it's just like waves of waves and waves, just killing all of your decent stuff, but your decent stuff never had a chance to actually hit. All you're doing with your decent stuff is reacting, like, oh, I'm killing that unit that just killed my big unit, and then boom, I just lost that unit. Okay, I'm going to kill this unit, and you're just feeding me units, but at no point am I ever moving forward to score points.
No. So
I'm just reacting. I'm just trying to clear my lines. I'm like just shooting.
Especially with the change to heavy, so obviously when last ITT we went to, it was heavy boards, but now heavy boards are the standard, aren't they? The standard boards.
Yeah, they are.
And like you say,
they are slightly different. The Crucible one is slightly different than it was as a heavy board at the ITT. The square was in line with the with that small L, and now it's like that instead.
No, I know what you mean.
Which actually does make it quite a significant difference, because you can put something in to shoot into the terrain, whereas I couldn't before. So, for instance, if that terrain was like that at the ITT, I would have stood a very, very small better chance against that Blood Angel player that I played.
Yeah.
But I still would have lost.
But no, I mean, I really like it. I think it's good. Do I think it's the best army in the game? No, I think Ultramarines and Guard are, but I do think it's really good. And if you're a player that's good with movement, good with target priority, so what this obviously list requires, the Blood Angel list, is really know your data sheets well, what you can go into, because if you've seen it yourself, Pat, when I played you in practice games, and I've overcommitted when we play Votann, and I've overcommitted or undercommitted, and then I've suddenly lost a really expensive unit for a cheap unit. So for me, it's all about, you've really got to know your data sheets and what can kill what very well, because at the end of the day, they are still expensive units. So you've got to get your target priority just spot on.
Yeah. I'm going to say as well, we forgot to mention this. Adam Tubby, the jammy bastard.
Yeah.
Got a drop in Custodes, in the points of Custodes. Like, what is going on? What is going on?
I rate Custodes. Adam is a friend of ours. He's like really good Custodes player. He's been just wrecking everyone with them at events and everything. Now I think they're pretty good, but for some reason a lot of people don't rate them. But I don't know. You've got Custodes. What?
Literally, they dropped all of his units. Like every unit he was playing, basically, they went, "Now we'll take some points off that." And it's just like, what is going on? Like I feel like they thought no one's playing them. Let's drop them down, drop the Terminators down, and it's literally everything that Adam was playing.
The thing is, no one is playing them though. That's the thing is, there's not many people playing them. No,
none of the top players are playing them, are they? The top, what
no.
you call like people are like your Ignites and your Art of Wars and that sort of thing. But that's,
Yeah,
I think, it's more of like a Custodians are an army that are quite good in the mid board, so they'll when they're good, but I think they probably do have a couple of bad matchups, you know, and there's probably things like, for instance, I don't know how Custodians
Drukhari.
Yeah.
Drukhari's not a good one for him.
Yeah, Drukhari, Blood Angels probably, because you've got movement over him, you can get to him, you've got the AP to take him to his invuln, you've got the damage output, that sort of thing. So there is a couple of bad matchups. I'm not sure how they go into World Eaters, particularly.
Probably all right, to be fair. I mean,
Yeah,
Adam's been wrecking them, but Adam's...
Yeah, Adam's a really good player, but like, it just struck me like I understand why they did it because no one's really playing them, but I also thought, well, yeah, but like, and this is an example, right? Me and my brother were talking about Spectre of Spite, and he was like, yeah, but the win rate for Spectre of Spite's not going to be that good, and I said it won't be that good because it's a very high skill army, but that doesn't mean that it's not extremely good. Like, the actual detachment and the rules are extremely good. It just means that you have to be a certain level of player to be able to win with it. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's Steve Trimble has been doing really well with it. Adam has also been played it for a bit. We've done really well with it. And it's the same with like Blood Angels. You know, you look at Blood Angels over the past year, right? Now I just said Liberator Assault Group is, I think, probably as good as Raging Onslaught, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like, but unfortunately, there's a lot of people that are playing Blood Angels that aren't very good. Do you know what I mean? So it brings their win rate right down. You know?
Yeah, it's just Space Marines in general, though. I feel because it's a beginner army. You know, it's a gateway army. You know?
Absolutely, Space Marines in general, you're going to have a high population of players, and because you have a high population of players, there's going to be a lot of them players that bring that down. You know, because it's their first army or whatever else. But like, you know, I look at people playing Liberator Assault Group and they're taking tanks. And I'm like, why are you taking tanks with Liberator Assault Group? Like, literally their strength is +1 strength, or +2 strength, +1 attack. Like, and then there's loads of strats, which are all towards melee.
Combat focus. Yeah.
And I'm like,
I don't understand it, mate, to be honest.
I'm literally watching you absolutely wreck face, like, all the time with Blood Angels. You know, literally scoring hundreds, 20-0s, all this sort of thing. And then people are taking tanks. I mean, don't get me wrong. The only thing I would say, which I think has got merit, is if you were to take Bowl Predators. And the only reason of that is because for Overwatch purposes, against stuff like Spectacular Spite, killing witches, killing Hellions, things like that, it does make the game a lot harder for Spectacle or Spite to play against you. But really, that's the only thing I can think that would be worth taking.
My theory to this as well is obviously because Space Marines is a beginner army. You know, it's not a beginner army, but it is a gateway. You know, and let's face it, shooting is easier to play than combat. It doesn't require the intricacy that a movement does.
100%.
Yeah. So, for example, say you've got an all-combat army. It's very, you know, you've got to be very precise with movement. You know, you can win. I've won games. I'm not, don't be arrogant because I'm not, but I've known I've won games in deployment just because my deployments. Just because my opponent, I've looked at the way they're deployed, and I've won this. And you've probably been there yourself because your opponent's deployed bad because they don't understand the finesse of the movement phase and the deployment.
100%, yeah.
And that's why I feel like, you know, people add tanks because it is easier to play, you know, shooting, you know, range shooting than
100%. It's easier to play a shooting army, yeah. I think there's in this current game and current setup, there's more power in melee armies. But
Totally.
yeah, but I agree with you though that about shooting armies. Yeah, they're easier to play because it's point and shoot, and it's you don't have to worry about the positioning and making sure you do this, making sure you pile in your consolidation, you're making sure you can get the charge, trying to avoid Overwatch, all that sort of thing.
Yeah. And you got to think about like when I send a unit, so say I send a 120 point unit to kill a 120 point unit, then I've got to think about what's going to go into that unit. Can I survive it? You've got to try and think turns ahead a bit more when you're a combat army, because you don't want to just throw shit away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got to try and think, well, actually, that's going to come out from behind the wall and clear me out. Then I've got to send something into that. So there's a lot more thinking involved if you're running a pure melee army.
Yeah, but I also think that running probably, unless we're talking about Tau maybe, but running a melee army is if you can unlock the movement and power in a melee army, I almost feel like you can do better with it than you can a shooting army. Do you know what I mean?
100%.
Because I think the shooting armies are quite limited. Whereas I feel like there's a lot of movement shenanigans and other things you can do with combat armies, which then allow you to consolidate or wrap things or move places to then pile in, do multiple pile into stuff you haven't charged, kill loads of stuff. Do you know what I mean? There's more power there to be unlocked, whereas shooting is just shooting. Do you know what I mean? You just you roll the die. Whereas there's a lot more power that can be unlocked. There's things you can do to stop your opponent doing things with a melee army. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so I'll give an example. So one of the reasons I've been winning so strongly as well is so Mephiston. He's got an aura, basically 6-inch aura of you take a leadership test. If you fail it, you just cannot fall back. Not many people realise it. A lot of people forget about it. And I'll be honest, at the start when the toilets come out, I overlooked it. But the last 6 months, I've been really abusing it, basically, and it has been winning me games hands down. But the process required to set that up, so you've got a Sangry Guard and a Death Company unit that pile into something, then they fail up at leadership because they're near Mephiston when they want to fall back. So he's got no shooting phase because you can't shoot my stuff because it's infantry. It's not easy. You've got to get position and pinpoint accurate, because otherwise you're like, oh shit, I'm outside of 6, they're outside of 6, or I'm not. Do you see what I'm saying? You've really got to think hard.
And that's the other thing is like Mephiston, probably the most underpointed character in the game.
Yeah, no comment. No, I think he's overpriced personally.
What is he? 125.
120.
I mean, and this is no joke. Luminous Azaris is 165 points, right? I would take Mephiston over him all day.
Yeah, mate. Mephiston is, and in the new detachment, he's just gross because the reroll where he falls off as well with like sometimes the wound roll, like he's got high strength, but he rolls like 3 or 4 ones to wound.
Yeah,
and now he's rerolling ones to wound.
Yeah.
So, but it's good. But I really like, and in fact, you can pump him to AP4 in this detachment as well.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Yeah,
with 8 attacks. So. Yeah, he's good. I like him, and but that's the sort of shenanigans I like. I like that sort of. I obviously tell my opponent I can do it, but that's what's fun about the game for me. I like that.
But I think that's the difference between like we're talking about players that are just starting their gateway armies and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So like you're playing Blood Angels, even if say I gave like a relatively new player a list, your list, and you were playing your list, like you could both take that to a tournament. He'll lose every game. And you could win every game with by more than 50 points. Do you know what I mean? Like, that is the difference between skill, and especially when it comes to stuff like melee armies, which are just higher skill armies. It's just a lot higher skill to play a melee army than it is a shooting army. Like I said, maybe Tau. I think you have to, if you're playing Tau to the highest level, I do think it's quite hard. But
yeah. I do agree. But also as well, it just shows that the faction is, if you really stick with a faction and really try and master it, and there's a lot of guys that stick with factions that are just really good. And if you really know your data sheets inside out, you can actually achieve stuff.
Yeah.
And if you just stick with it.
Yeah, totally agree. Like I win games with Hypercrypt that I probably shouldn't be winning.
No, I've never played Hypercrypt apart from you, but honestly, this man here has beat me more times than I beat him. Every time he fucking gets me.
But you know that, and again, it's like yourself with Blood Angels. I've sort of stuck to something, and you know, Hypercrypt is the list I'm playing is not meta in any way, shape, or form. But I've managed to
No.
get some decent wins out of it, and or of course, at least if I've lost, I've had close losses. You know, it's just sort of trying to get the best out of what you're using. You know, but.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, me and Tom are going to hopefully get a game over the Christmas period, and I'm going to see what this raging onslaught's all about. The raging onslaught will just be him swearing at me, probably. But
yeah, probably.
When he kills me, and he goes, "Get it off the fucking table."
No, I've got some good ideas, and it's good. You know, I can't wait to try it. It's something new to play, and you know, I will say, I think actually all the Grotmus detachments have been good. I think they've done a good job of them. I think they're thematic. I like the name. You know, I like there's quite a lot of thoughts going into them. You can see that.
Yeah. No, I think they are good, and I don't think that there's any of them. Like, for instance, even with the Blood Angel one's probably that and the Grizzled Company, I'd say, were the best two.
Yeah, I'd agree. Yeah,
and
I
haven't looked, and the Harlequins one is yet to be decided.
I can't comment on Harlequins because I don't know Elder and Harlequins well enough to say if that makes sense.
Enough, but a few people have said to me that they think it's going to be really strong. But I think that, you know, from what I've seen, Blood Angels and Guard both look really good. But I look at them and I don't look at them and think this is insane. Do you know what I mean? Like, can't. It's unplayable. Like, they're still going to have bad matchups. There's still going to be close games and things like that. So I think they've done a good job there. I do think that, to be honest, the Victrix they've got away with it, and I do hope that the balance team do like an emergency patch, because I think it's a shame to have that Victrix. And don't get me wrong, you can talk about their win rate all you want, but as we know, a lot of gateway people are going to be coming in and playing Ultramarines. So their win detachment means nothing. Their win rate means nothing.
This is what pisses me off about win rates. It's like, you know, how everyone can't see that the Space Marine win rate is always going to be lower than what it should be.
Yeah.
Because half the community's playing Space Marines.
Yeah. So I just think that everyone knows in the community the Victrix are too strong. So do something about it. So the balance team, I think, should do an emergency patch and be like, look, we actually, now we've nerfed the other guys, the Eldar, the Abmech. You know, there's not that many bad matchups for the Victrix. Actually, we're going to tone them down a little bit to keep them in line with everyone else. Do you know what I mean?
It did make me laugh though. I 6++. I listened to their podcast the other day, and I agree with what Jack Tight said, and he made me fucking die. What he come out with, basically, he played Josh Roberts at the Warhammer World Teams.
Yeah.
And Josh Roberts in charge of balance, and
he's like part of the balance team, so he gives them advice and whatever.
And then he rolls up with 20 Victrix Guard.
Yeah.
I'm like, mate.
The thing is, like, you know, Josh obviously doesn't get the last say, the final say. I've spoke to people before. I've spoken to people before that do like play testing and things like that, and they've put stuff and said that this is way too strong, and they've just ignored them. Do you know what I mean? So Josh Roberts definitely hasn't got the blame for it, but however, Josh knows the Victrix are really strong. So to then be part of the balance team and turn up at a tournament with the thing that you know is broken, there are things that can kill him broken, it's maybe Josh should have read the room a little bit and been like, I probably shouldn't take these. I'll take another army, for instance, Harlequins, they're meant to be really, really good, or Guard with the Grizzled Company, or Blood Angels, who are also really good. Or Custodes, could have turned up with Custodes, who people are saying are C tier until they turn up, until they play Adam, and then suddenly everyone's losing. Literally, at the at that Autumn ITT, people were choosing Adam to play. Yeah, I'll play the Custodes player. Yeah, I'll play the Custodes player, and then getting 20-0'd by him and being like, "Oh, I didn't realise they'd done that." You didn't realise they were +1 to wound, re-rolling wounds, like.
Yeah. It's mad, but no, it's 8. I think you end up being like fucking 15th, and I finished 11th, and Mike finished 8th. So on single, right? So he's done well. But no, at the end of the day, it's a money incentive. We all know it is.
Yeah.
They're selling. You got all the mugs out there buying 18 of them because there's a lot of people out there that will go, "Oh, I've got to win at all costs. I'm going to go and buy 18 of them.
Yeah.
Airbrush them in 5 minutes."
They just need to. They just need to sell them, like
Yeah, of course.
And then after Christmas, a week after Christmas, once everyone's gone for Christmas, they can just do their emergency data slate and go emergency balance patch and just go, oh, we've changed this rule and this rule to bring the Victrix in line with the rest of the game, basically.
Yeah, they'll be flooded on eBay.
Yeah, problem solved. And then I'll pick up some cheap Victrix.
Exactly. I'll be able to pick them up for some conversions, so I'll be well happy.
Perfect. All right, mate. We're gonna call it there. But thanks for coming on. It's been a really good chat.
So, mate, well, what we'll do is, I said, if we do another one, we'll try and get another Ollie on as well, so you have a little freeway. You know what I mean?
Oh, even Adam. Lovely. Yeah. We'll get some more boys from the team on. We'll chat some more about 40K because we all love it. We all love talking about 40K. It's one thing about 40K. I love playing it. I love writing lists, and I love talking about it. It's just a cool hobby. So
my wife wouldn't agree though.
No, my girlfriend don't agree either. She's like, get off the phone. Is Tom messaging you again? Is that Tom again?
Yeah.
Right.
On, buddy. See you guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye.